In the quiet neighborhood of Maple Street, everyone knew Jayden Carter, a 15-year-old black boy with a bright smile and an even brighter future. He was known for two things, his kindness and his dog, Rocky, a large black and brown Rottweiler that followed him everywhere. Rocky wasn't just a pet, he was Jayden's best friend, protector, and family. Jayden had grown up with Rocky since he was 7. The dog had been a gift from his late father, a police officer who had died in the line of duty. His father used to tell him, "A dog's loyalty is stronger than any chain, remember that, son." Jayden carried those words in his heart. It was a sunny afternoon when Jayden left his small home to run errands for his mother. He had just collected some money from the corner store where he helped out part-time, $120 that he had worked hard for. He planned to buy a new pair of shoes and some art supplies. Rocky trotted beside him, tail wagging happily, but as they turned the corner into an alley shortcut, a shadow moved quickly from behind a dumpster. A man, tall, rough-looking, with a scar running across his left cheek, stepped out. His name was Marcus Slim Doyle, a petty thief known around town for robbing easy targets. "Yo, kid. Hand over that bag," Marcus said, his tone cold. Jayden froze. "Please, sir. It's just my work money. I need it." Marcus grinned. "Then you better hand it over before you lose more than that." Rocky growled, stepping forward, his muscles tensing. "Call off your mutt." Marcus barked. Jayden, afraid things might get worse, whispered, "It's okay, Rocky. Stay." But when Marcus snatched the bag from Jayden's hand and shoved him to the ground, everything changed. Rocky's growl turned into a deep roar. His eyes locked on the thief as he lunged. Marcus didn't even have time to react before the dog tackled him to the ground, snarling and snapping. The bag fell from Marcus's hand as he struggled, screaming, "Get him off me. Get him off." Jayden quickly stood, calling, "Rocky, stop." At the sound of his boy's voice, Rocky froze, though his teeth were still bared. He backed off slowly, never taking his eyes off the thief. Marcus scrambled up, clutching his arm where Rocky's jaws had grazed him. He looked at Jayden, panting, humiliated and angry. "You're lucky, kid," he hissed, and then bolted down the alley, without the money. Rocky barked once, a deep warning sound that echoed long after Marcus had disappeared. Word spread fast. Neighbors who had seen the chase called the police. Marcus Doyle was caught 2 days later trying to pawn stolen goods, including wallets from other victims. When the police questioned Jayden, Officer Daniels, his father's old partner, smiled proudly. "Your dad would have been proud of you, and that dog," he said. Rocky was hailed as a hero. Local news stations came to interview Jayden, who simply said, "He's not just my dog. He's my family. He protected me like my dad used to." A few weeks later, Jayden and his mom adopted another rescue dog, a small puppy they named Lucky. Rocky watched over the little one like an older brother, never leaving Jayden's side. The boy continued to work, save money, and paint, his favorite subject now being Rocky, the dog who proved that loyalty has no price. And every evening, when the sun dipped below the rooftops, Jayden would look at Rocky lying at his feet and whisper, "Thanks for having my back, buddy." Rocky's tail would thump softly, and his eyes would say what words couldn't. Always. 3 months had passed since that day in the alley. Jayden Carter's life had almost returned to normal: school, part-time work, and evenings spent painting with Rocky sleeping at his feet. The incident had made him a bit more cautious, but with his loyal dog by his side, he felt safe. Rocky had become something of a local celebrity. People in the neighborhood called him the hero dog, and kids often came by to pet him. Jayden loved it, but he didn't know that somewhere out there, someone else had taken notice too. That someone was Marcus Slim Doyle. Marcus had spent 30 days in county jail after being caught with stolen goods. He blamed Jayden for his arrest. The humiliation of being tackled by a dog had burned in his mind every day behind bars. When he got out, Marcus had one goal: get revenge. Late one night, he stood outside the Carter family home, dressed in black. The neighborhood was quiet, the only sound was crickets and the occasional bark from a distant yard. Inside, Jayden was asleep. His mother had gone to bed early, and Rocky was curled up at the foot of Jayden's bed. Marcus crept closer, gripping a crowbar. "Let's see how tough that mud is now," he whispered to himself. Rocky's ears twitched. His eyes opened, pupils narrowing. A low growl rumbled in his chest before he even moved. Jayden stirred. "Rocky? What's wrong, boy?" Before he could get up, Rocky leapt from the bed, barking furiously. Jayden ran to the window, and froze. A dark figure was outside, near the back door. "Mom. Someone's outside," he shouted. His mother woke instantly, dialing 911 as Jayden held Rocky by the collar. But Rocky wouldn't stay. His instincts had taken over. The dog sprinted through the house and slammed into the back door, barking like thunder. Marcus hesitated. "Oh, you remember me, huh?" he sneered, gripping the crowbar tighter. Rocky barked louder, standing between Marcus and the doorway. Jayden grabbed a flashlight and pointed it through the window. "Leave us alone," he yelled. Marcus swung the crowbar at the door, trying to break it open, but that was his mistake. The door gave way slightly, and in an instant, Rocky charged through the gap like a bullet. Marcus stumbled backward as the 100-pound Rottweiler lunged at him. He fell into the dirt, yelling as Rocky pinned him down, "Get off! Get off me!" Rocky didn't bite, he just growled, deep and menacing, his teeth inches from Marcus's face. He held him there, unmoving, like a trained officer's K9. Jayden ran outside, shouting, "Rocky, stay!" Police sirens wailed in the distance. When officers arrived, they found Marcus on the ground, trembling, Rocky still watching him with cold, steady eyes. Officer Daniels looked down at Marcus and sighed. "Didn't learn your lesson, huh?" Marcus didn't reply. He just looked at the boy and the dog, and for the first time, his anger turned to fear. A few days later, Marcus was sent away again, this time for breaking and entering. Jayden and his mom were shaken but safe. Local news ran the story once more. Hero dog stops burglary, again. That night, Jayden sat on the porch steps with Rocky beside him. The stars shimmered above. "You saved us again, boy," Jayden said softly, petting Rocky's head. "You're my dad's spirit in fur." Rocky leaned into him, tail wagging slowly, but something unexpected happened next. A letter arrived from Marcus in jail. Inside it said, "I don't know why that dog didn't tear me apart. Maybe he knew I already destroyed enough of myself. I'm done with this life. That animal's loyalty, it made me realize something. I wish someone had ever loved me like that." Jayden read it twice, then smiled faintly. Maybe, he thought, loyalty can change more than just one life. A year later, Jayden began volunteering at an animal shelter, helping rescue and train abandoned dogs. He told every kid who came to adopt, "When you earn a dog's trust, you earn a kind of love that never dies." And every night, before going to bed, he whispered the same words to Rocky, "Thanks for saving me, not just from danger, but from fear." Rocky would nuzzle his hand, eyes soft and loyal, as if saying, "Always, Jayden." Always. 2 years had passed since Marcus Doyle tried to break into the Carter home. Life had moved on, but some memories never faded. Now Jayden Carter was 17, taller, stronger, and wiser. Rocky was older too, his black coat now showing streaks of silver around his muzzle. But his spirit hadn't changed, his eyes were still sharp, his loyalty still unbreakable. Jayden often felt that Rocky wasn't just a dog. He felt like a piece of his late father, Officer David Carter, living on, watching over him, and soon, Jayden would discover just how true that feeling was. One rainy afternoon, Jayden came home from school to find his mother sitting quietly at the kitchen table, holding an envelope. It was old, the paper yellowed, and the handwriting familiar. "Jayden," she said softly. "This came from your father's old police locker. They finally cleared it out." Jayden's heart skipped a beat. He carefully opened it. Inside was a folded letter and a small metal USB drive. The letter read, "If you're reading this, son, it means you're old enough to know the truth. My work as a police officer wasn't just about protecting people, it was about uncovering something dangerous. Keep Rocky close. He's more than he seems." Dad. Jayden frowned. "More than he seems? What does that mean?" His mother shook her head. "Your father was part of something secret, something he never talked about." That night, Jayden plugged the USB into his laptop. It contained encrypted files, labeled Project Sentinel. As he stared at the screen, Rocky suddenly growled. His ears perked, his eyes fixed on the door. Jayden turned. "What is it, boy?" Outside, headlights flashed briefly, then disappeared. A car had stopped near their driveway, and left just as fast. Rocky barked twice, low and warning. Jayden's gut tightened. Something wasn't right. He turned back to the computer, and one file suddenly opened, almost on its own. It was a video recording. On screen appeared his father, sitting in a dimly lit office. "If anything happens to me, keep the dog safe," his father said. Rocky isn't just a pet. He's part of a police protection program. His microchip contains evidence, names of officers involved in corruption. Trust no one, son. Not even the department. Jayden's breath caught. "Rocky, you've been carrying a secret this whole time?" Later that night, around midnight, Rocky's deep growl woke Jayden again. He looked out the window. 2 men in dark coats were sneaking toward the back door. They weren't random burglars this time. They moved like professionals. Jayden whispered, "They're here for the chip." Before he could call for help, the back door creaked open. Rocky stood in front of Jayden, head low, muscles tense, eyes blazing. The first man stepped inside. "Kid, hand over the dog. We don't want to hurt you." Jayden shouted, "Rocky, guard." The Rottweiler lunged forward, knocking the man backward into the wall. The second man tried to grab Jayden, but the boy ducked and swung a lamp, shattering it across his arm. Rocky growled, cornering both intruders. Suddenly, red and blue lights flashed outside. The police had arrived. Officer Daniels burst in, weapon drawn. "Freeze." The 2 intruders dropped to their knees. Jayden exhaled in relief as Daniels secured them. The next day, Daniels sat across from Jayden and his mom at the precinct. Your father was right, Daniels said gravely. He was investigating dirty cops who were taking bribes from a gang. He hid the evidence in Rocky's microchip so they couldn't destroy it. He slid a small tablet across the table, showing a data log extracted from the dog's chip files, names, dates, payments. Daniels smiled faintly. Rocky wasn't just a pet. He was your father's partner. Jayden looked at Rocky, who sat calmly beside him, tail wagging. Tears filled Jayden's eyes. You really were watching over me, weren't you, boy? Rocky pressed his head against Jayden's shoulder, as if saying yes. Months later, the corrupt officers were arrested. Jayden received a Medal of Honor in his father's name, and Rocky was awarded a Canine Hero Medal by the city. Standing on the stage, Jayden spoke softly into the microphone. My dad taught me that loyalty means protecting what's right, even when it's hard. Rocky didn't just save me, he saved my father's legacy. The crowd stood in applause. Cameras flashed, but Jayden didn't care about fame. He knelt beside Rocky, whispering, "Thank you, partner." Rocky's tail thumped once, eyes shining with pride. Years later, Jayden joined the police academy, following his father's footsteps. Rocky, older now, walked slower but still waited for him by the door every morning, and when Rocky finally passed peacefully one summer evening, Jayden buried him beside his father's grave, whispering through tears, "You kept your promise, buddy. Always." On the gravestone, Jayden had engraved one line his father once said, the words that defined their bond forever: a dog's loyalty is stronger than any chain. 5 years later, Jayden Carter had become everything his father once was, and more. Now Officer Jayden Carter, he stood tall in his crisp blue uniform, the same badge number his father had worn gleaming on his chest, but even with all the pride he felt, one piece of him was missing. Rocky. It had been almost a year since the loyal Rottweiler passed away. The house was quieter now, the porch empty where Rocky used to sit waiting for him to come home. Jayden still kept the old collar on his desk, the tag worn but shining with the engraved word, always. But soon, Jayden would realize Rocky's story wasn't over yet. When Jayden reported for duty one morning, Captain Daniels, now his superior, called him into the office. "Carter," he said with a grin, "I think it's time you had a partner." Jayden frowned. "A partner?" Daniels nodded toward the kennel behind the precinct. Inside was a young Rottweiler, with striking amber eyes, almost identical to Rocky's. "She's a rescue. Came from the same breeder line your father's dog was from," Daniels said. "She's strong, smart, and a bit stubborn. Thought you'd understand her." Jayden knelt by the cage, holding out his hand. The dog sniffed him cautiously, then licked his fingers. He smiled softly. "Hey there, girl. You remind me of someone." Daniels chuckled. "Her name's Luna. Take good care of her, she's your new K9 unit." Jayden nodded. "I will. Just like I did with Rocky." Within weeks, Jayden and Luna became inseparable. She trained fast, obeyed instantly, and even had a strange habit, sleeping at Jayden's bedside like Rocky used to. One night, while going through his father's old case files, Jayden noticed something odd, a name he hadn't seen before: Detective Eric Vance. The file suggested Vance had worked with his father on Project Sentinel, but there were no further records. It was as if the man had vanished. Jayden felt something stir. "Luna," he whispered, "I think Dad's story isn't over yet." He decided to reopen the case. Over the next few weeks, Jayden followed the trail. He learned Vance had left the force years ago and now worked as a security consultant for a private company, Argonne Industries, a name that appeared several times in the encrypted data from Rocky's microchip. The company was supposedly clean, but rumors said they were developing AI-controlled K9 drones for military use, using data taken from real police dogs. Jayden's pulse quickened. Rocky's data. Dad's research. They stole it. He knew what he had to do. One night, under a cloak of mist and moonlight, Jayden and Luna arrived at the Argonne facility. The building was massive, steel fences, armed guards, cameras everywhere. "Stay low," he whispered. Luna moved beside him silently, her muscles tense and ready. Inside, they snuck through a maintenance tunnel and reached the research lab. On one of the monitors, Jayden saw files labeled Project Sentinel, Dog Neural Mapping. He clenched his fists. "They used my father's work to build weapons." Suddenly, alarms blared. "Freeze," shouted a voice behind him. A guard aimed a rifle. Luna barked sharply, and before the man could fire, she leapt, disarming him with a precise, lightning-fast move. Jayden grabbed the hard drive and ran, Luna covering his flank like a seasoned soldier. Back at the precinct, Jayden decrypted the files. Inside were hundreds of test logs, showing that Argonne had used Rocky's neural patterns, his loyalty responses, his memory imprints, as a foundation for their experimental AI dogs. Rocky's spirit, his intelligence, had been replicated. Jayden's breath caught as one video file opened. It showed a scientist explaining, "Subject R01 neural code displays an unusual pattern of loyalty, almost human." It's based on original data from Officer David Carter's Rottweiler, Rocky. We call this behavioral model Guardian Protocol. Tears welled in Jayden's eyes. Guardian Protocol, that's what Dad called him. He built that code on purpose. Captain Daniels entered the room quietly. Your father wasn't just trying to expose corruption. He was trying to build something that could protect forever, a legacy of loyalty. Weeks later, Argonne's corrupt leaders were arrested. The Sentinel program was dismantled, and the ethical technology was transferred to the police department for real K-9 training, named in honor of Rocky Carter. At the dedication ceremony, Jayden stood proudly with Luna beside him. Reporters asked how it felt to carry on his father's and dog's legacy. Jayden looked down at Luna, then up at the crowd. My dad and Rocky taught me something simple: loyalty doesn't die. It evolves. What they started wasn't about technology or fame. It was about heart and courage. The audience clapped as Luna barked once, as if Rocky himself had spoken through her. Late that night, Jayden drove to the hill overlooking the city, the place he used to walk Rocky as a boy. He looked up at the stars, whispering, "Dad. Rocky, we did it. The world knows now." The wind blew softly, and Luna pressed her head against his arm. Jayden smiled. You feel that, girl? That's him. He's still watching. And as Luna's tail wagged, a faint sound of a bark echoed in the distance, deep, strong, and familiar. Jayden closed his eyes and whispered one final word: always. The night was quiet over Maple Street, the same neighborhood where everything began years ago, where a young boy named Jayden Carter once walked with his loyal dog Rocky. Now, Jayden was a seasoned detective, known across the city for his bravery and integrity. Beside him sat Luna, his new K-9 partner, strong, sharp, and fiercely loyal. But even as life seemed peaceful, Jayden felt an unshakable pull, like something from the past was still unfinished. He'd learned his father's secrets. He had brought down corruption, but one message in his father's files remained encrypted, unreadable. It was titled simply, Guardian Protocol, Final Directive. And tonight, he would unlock it. In his dimly lit apartment, Jayden sat at his desk, the glow of the monitor lighting his face. Luna rested at his feet, eyes half closed but alert. Jayden inserted the old USB, the same one his father had left behind years ago. He typed in the final passcode he had discovered from his father's old badge number, DC 1978R. File opened. A video began to play. His father, Officer David Carter, appearing older and tired, sitting in front of a camera. If you're watching this, Jayden, you've uncovered everything I wanted you to find. But there's one last thing, something I couldn't reveal before. Rocky wasn't the only one carrying the Guardian Protocol. There's another. A second prototype, hidden deep beneath the city, containing the rest of the evidence. You must find it before they do. Jayden leaned forward, eyes narrowing. Before who does? The video glitched, static filling the screen, then flickered back. They called themselves the Directorate. They were behind the corruption, behind Argonne Industries, behind everything. They wanted to use the Guardian AI to control law enforcement, not protect it. If you find this, son, finish what I started. The screen went black. Jayden sat in silence, his heartbeat pounding in his chest. Luna lifted her head and gave a soft whine. He looked down at her. Looks like we've got one last mission, girl. Using his father's old maps and access codes, Jayden traced the location to an abandoned subway tunnel beneath the city, long sealed after a flood decades ago. That night, armed with his flashlight and Luna by his side, Jayden descended into the dark. The air was thick with dust and echoes. As they walked, Luna suddenly stopped, growling low. Her ears perked. Jayden raised his light. Footprints. Fresh ones. Someone's already here, he muttered. They moved cautiously until they reached a rusted metal door. Painted faintly on the surface were the letters, GP02, Guardian Protocol 2. Just as Jayden began unlocking the door, a voice echoed behind him, "Step away, detective." Jayden turned. Two men in tactical gear stood there, weapons raised, their uniforms marked with the emblem of the Directorate. "So it's true," Jayden said calmly. "You're still operating." The lead man sneered. "You should have left the past buried, Carter. Your father tried to destroy what we built. Now you'll finish his fate." Before they could fire, Luna barked and lunged, knocking one to the ground. Jayden rolled behind a pillar, drawing his sidearm. A gunshot rang out, sparks flying off the metal wall. Jayden fired back, striking the second man's weapon. The room filled with echoes of barks, shouts, and gunfire. "Luna, guard," he shouted. The young Rottweiler leapt again, grabbing one man's sleeve and dragging him down, giving Jayden the opening he needed. He disarmed the other with a swift strike and cuffed them both using their own restraints. Breathing heavily, Jayden looked at Luna. "Good girl. Just like Rocky." Luna wagged her tail proudly. Inside the vault was a small capsule, sealed, dusty, but still active. Jayden pried it open. Inside was a data core labeled Guardian Protocol, Unified Memory System. He plugged it into his portable tablet, and the screen lit up with thousands of stored memories, Rocky's training logs, his neural responses, even video footage of Jayden as a boy, laughing and playing with him. Tears filled Jayden's eyes. He remembered everything, and then, one more message appeared, his father's final words: loyalty isn't built. It's born, in the heart of those who protect others, no matter the cost. If you're reading this, Jayden, it means you've completed the Guardian Protocol. You are its living legacy. Jayden closed the device, whispering, I understand now, Dad. After turning the evidence over to federal authorities, the directorate was dismantled once and for all. The Guardian Protocol was officially archived, protected, not weaponized. A few months later, Jayden stood again at his father's grave. Luna sat beside him, calm and proud. He placed the capsule next to the tombstone. Dad. Rocky, the truth is safe now. You both can rest. The wind blew gently through the trees, carrying the faint echo of a bark, deep and familiar. Jayden smiled, wiping his eyes. I hear you, buddy. Always. Luna barked softly, tail wagging as if she could sense him. 2 years later, the Guardian Training Center was established, teaching young officers about loyalty, courage, and the true bond between handler and dog. At the entrance stood a bronze statue of Rocky and Jayden as a boy, side by side. The plaque below read, Loyalty never dies. It becomes legacy. Dedicated to Officer David Carter, Rocky, and all who protect with heart. And in the soft light of dawn, as recruits marched in, Jayden stood with Luna at his side, whispering under his breath, we finished the mission, old friend. Together.